It is so good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network 2S television. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Adebayo.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm very fine.
Good, good. Thank God it's Friday. We have a couple of newspapers this morning to talk about. Let's begin from the Daily Trust newspaper. From the very top, it's PDP asks UNGA to demand commitment from Buhari on 2023 elections. And side by side that is real reasons APC postponed state congresses. That can be found on page 38 of the Daily Trust. Then police arrest 3 kidnappers of Bethel School students. That can be found on page 36. The gaping headline there is about agriculture as harvest sets in. Middlemen mop up grains. 3 riders the first. Prices keep rising as consumers raise alarm. And international speculators flood Nigerian markets. And then situation getting out of hand. That's coming from expert. The story under the picture of the day there is talking about the VAT roll. Federal government moves dragging Rivers, Lagos to Supreme Court. That can be found on page 22. Reps amend Power Sector Reform Act 15 years after. That's on page 20. And then Zulum to federal government deploy technology to protect infrastructure in Borno. That can be found on page 6. And then court fixes judgment in ex-Kano Emir Sanusi suit for November 30th. That can be found on page 4. But let's talk about the banner headline there is, as harvest sets in, middlemen mop up grains. We're seeing experts saying the situation is getting out of hand. And we're having international speculators, flooding the Nigerian market, analyzing the situation. We've been seeing stories of people complaining about the price hike in food stuff and everything. What's your take on all of this?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is the issue of instability we have in that very particular sector, and the major factor there is insecurity and all of that. People, we don't have enough food, for ourselves to consume, and as long as people are no longer feeling safe to go to their farm to do what they need to do, what they know how best to do. And there is no way this will not happen, because we have had people saying over and over that, see, we are having this problem and government needs to solve it for us. But, still, we are still in that very particular spot. And until we are able to, tackle this menace and ensure that, it is reduced to the barest minimum, so that people still have this sense of, being saved. They are able to go to their farms, and they also have support from the government, going into mechanized farming, so that we have enough food for us to consume. Until we are able to do that, I doubt if we will be able to beat, this particular, trend.
And some people have said that we're more focused on consuming, and farmers, most of the farmers we have are more focused on consuming rather than making to export. How true is that statement?
Well, I do not really believe that, because you cannot do beyond what you have the ability to do. Even though most of these people may have this ability, they may have the potential, but they need support. So if they get requisite support from the appropriate quarters, like going beyond this normal farming and being mechanized, going to mechanized farming, I think that will go a long way. Because if you are a farmer and all just you are able to do is just to plant on maybe just one how do I put it now?
Grain,
just a plot of land. Of course, you may not be able to do more than what your family will consume and all. But if you have support elsewhere, you have the resources, you're able to plant large number of crops and all of that. Of course, you metamorphose into feeding your family and being able to reach out to more people. So as long as farmers are not getting requisite support from appropriate quarters, I don't see this going out of the trend. So.
All right. The Daily Times newspaper, the very top is talking about the AFCFTA with $3 trillion GDP. Africa will be largest free trade area worldwide, and that's coming from Afreximbank. All of that story can be found on the banner on the front page of the Daily Times and continued on page 2. The banner headline there on the picture of the day, where we have President Muhammad Buhari, of course, in New York with the United Nations Secretary General's advocate for inclusive finance. Lai Mohammed, federal government borrowing to build world-class infrastructure. Then the writer says critics of Buhari on borrowing insincere. And now this is coming from Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information for Nigeria. He's saying The borrowing is to build world-class infrastructure, and it's talking to the critics of the Buhari administration that they are not being sincere with their takes on the continuous borrowing and not seeing physical infrastructure or not seeing the result. How can you juxtapose the insincerity, the supposed insincerity of the people, according to Lai Mohammed, and the building of world-class infrastructure and what has been done in the past?
I do not believe that it is a sin if you want to invest and you know you don't have the capacity or the resources and you go elsewhere to get the support, the loan, or whatever you call it, knowing fully well that what you are about to dabble into is going to bring you profit. I remember just not too long, former President Obasanjo, while in South Africa, also said the same thing. So it is no sin at all, when you borrow to invest with the expectation that the investment is going to yield result. So now the problem successive Nigerian in the past, have had is the issue of, going out of their way to borrow in the name or on the pretense of investing in infrastructure. And at the end of the day, citizens will see nothing. I think that is the issue. So even developing economy, most of the developed world that, we are seeing today, most of them also have had similar experiences. Do you understand? So the problem is the lack of trust in the leadership system. Because many Nigerians of today, even though you have good intention and even no matter how strong you are in your area of integrity, many Nigerians will still not believe you. They will still not trust you because they believe that you are just going there, to satisfy your selfish interest. So the issue is trust and accountability. So if that can be eroded completely and the Nigerians are beginning to see what their leaders are saying they will do, I think that will put this to an end. So as far as I'm concerned, it is no sin at all government going out to borrow loan as long as this thing is going to bring results and Nigerians will see what they say they want to do. So if that can be addressed, in full term, I think all this Olabalu and all this critic, will go to an end.
Okay, we have three other stories on the Daily Times right there. Ngege North States paying foreigners 5 times higher than Nigerians. The second is on politics, 2023 elections. Buhari Group says NEF myopic to speak for Northern Nigeria, and that's the Northern Elders Forum. And then we're seeing on business $100 billion lost globally to annual conflict, says Finance Minister. Police nabbed 3 suspected kidnappers of 126 students of Bethel Baptist School. Let's quickly go over to The Guardian. The banner headline there is talking about the value-added tax controversy. Federal government heads to Supreme Court. Reps consider bill to back state. And then over to the News Direct, Nigeria News Direct. Boko Haram CSOs activists fume over federal government's reluctance to disclose sponsors. 2 rather. The first, as report of names under persecution leaks. The second, don't shield Boko Haram sponsors. That's coming from Adegborua. That can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. And very quickly, the Blueprint newspaper. We could have a couple of stories right there. And then we're still seeing the banner headline talking about federal government to critics. Blame previous administration's failures for borrowings. We have so much to show for loans. Won't be deterred by politics. Work on Borno's 50 megawatt power plant begins soon. That's coming from Governor Zulum of Borno State. Then we see right of VAT collection remains with FIRS. AGF Malami insists and reveals plans to institute action at Supreme Court. We have a couple of other stories right there, and this last one, EFCC secures 978 convictions in 2021, can be found on page 5 of the Blueprint. Just grab yourself a copy of any of the newspapers this morning and stay updated with happenings across Nigeria and, of course, across Africa. And don't forget, you can also stay updated on our website, www.tostvnetwork.com, so you do not miss out on the updates that we have happening in Nigeria and Africa. Don't forget to also follow us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you again for joining us on the Nigeria Now program for today. Thank you again, Mr. Adebayo.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And please stay safe and have an amazing weekend. We see you next week, Monday.